I'd travel more, but who wants to deal with all the soldiers these days?
Have you heard? There's been another dragon attack. Kainsgrove is
Hi there. Need something? Some pretty flowers. I picked them all by myself. Thanks. Thanks for talking to me.
Hey, you're the one who killed Elaine Dufont up in Raldbata. Oh yeah, word about that got around. Man was a piece of bandit trash, is what I hear.
I had expected East Grimore City to be bigger.
Looking to hire a boat?
Captain Gjallan does the business around here. I'm just a ship's mate.
Captain Gjallan does the business around here. I'm just a ship.
If you're looking for passage to Solstheim, too bad. I'm not going back there anymore. It's hard to explain. I remember those people with the masks coming on board. Then, the next thing I remember, I was here, and they were gone. And that's not right, losing whole days like that. There's been something strange going on there for a while. But after this, I'm done. I'm not going back to Solstheim. Have you been listening to me? I'm not going back there. All right, you have a point. Taking you back to find out who sent them is the least I can do. Besides, maybe you can put a stop to whatever's going on over there. I owe them a bit of payback myself. Well, here we are. This is Raven Rock. Can't say I'm all that glad to see it again. Good luck. Maybe you can figure out what's going on around here.
Let's get indoors. Or in a cave. Anywhere, just out of this.
I don't recognize you. So I'll assume this is your first visit to Raven Rock, Outlander. State your intentions. Mirak, I'm not sure that I do. Just remember, Raven Rock is sovereign territory of House Redoran. This is Morrowind, not Skyrim. While you're here, you will be expected to abide by our laws. Any questions? I'm unsure. I swear I know the name, but I cannot place it. I don't think so. I'm not... The name has something to do with the Earthstone, I think, but I'm not sure. I have to be. As second counselor, the security of Raven Rock is my primary concern. This isn't exactly the city of Blacklight. We're on the frontier out here. We've had more than a fair share of troubles. After all we've been through together, I refuse to let Councillor Morvain down. Councillor Morvain is House Redoran's representative on Solstheim. As second Councillor, it's my job to support him and make certain his rule is enforced. Raven Rock started out as an Imperial settlement, but the Empire decided to abandon it just as my people were first setting foot here. They left the town a shambles, and when House Redoran took over, we turned it around and it became ours. And even if it's been a struggle to make this island livable, we're proud to call it home. Your ignorance of our homeland doesn't surprise me. It's the capital of Morrowind. Been that way ever since Mournhold was sacked by the Argonians. I don't visit there often anymore, but we still get the occasional supply ship and visitors from there. Quite a while ago, yes. They cut a bloody swath across most of the southern region of Morrowind. Nobody seems certain why it happened. Attempted expansion, revenge for the enslavement of their people, or perhaps both. Whatever the case may be, thousands of Dunmen needlessly lost their lives, and many more were exiled from their homeland. Giolan, I was starting to wonder what happened to you.
We were Captain Giolan does the business around here. I'm just a ship's...
Before you even ask, yes. Have the supplies you require.
If you're looking for passage to Vardenfell, you're out of luck. No ships are heading that way anymore.
Oh, it cost me double what we'd agreed on. Nothing I can do about it.
What now?
Giolan, no, we don't have that much.
The East Empire Company didn't give me a choice. Raised the prices again. And there's nothing I can do about it.
After all these years, they're doubting us every last day.
You there. You don't seem to be in quite the same state as the others here. Very interesting. May I ask what it is you're doing here? Mirak. It sounds familiar, and yet I can't quite place... Oh, wait, I recall. But that makes very little sense. Mirak's been dead for thousands of years. I'm not sure, but it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps it has some relation to what's going on here. Quite unexpected. I'm afraid I can't give you any answers, but there are ruins of an ancient temple of Mirax toward the center of the island. If I were you, I'd look there. Building something, clearly. And yet they don't seem to have much to say about it. I'm very interested to find out what happens when they finish. Certainly not. Doing so would interfere with whatever is going on, and I would be unable to see how this all turns out.
Far from ourselves.
When the city of Vivek was destroyed, it took decades for us to rebuild. We are still but a shadow of our glorious past, but someday we will rise again.
Now through him do we see.
Your hands.
That seems inadvisable. Oh, fascinating. By touching the stone, you appear to have fallen under whatever influence. Ah, so you are able to resist the effect by exerting your will. Fascinating. I would not advise touching the stone again. The effects of repeated contact could be...
When the world...
Unless, of course, you'd like to contribute to my investigation. It could be very enlightening to observe you. I wonder if a dragon could be captured alive. It would make a fascinating test subject.
And when the world remembers.
You haven't seen Cretius Corellius, have you? That foolish old man's taken my pickaxe again. No, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill pickaxe. I'm talking about an ancient Nordic pickaxe. They don't exactly grow on trees, you know. I'd prefer to handle these things on my own. Look, if you see Cretius, tell him to give me that pickaxe back, and I'll pay you for the trouble. Well, it's been a long time since someone from the guilds bothered to make their way out here. So tell me, how's my brother Delvin? Still spending his nights at the Ragged Flagon trying to win Vex's heart? Good to hear. Damn layabout never even bothers to send his own flesh and blood a letter saying how he's doing. Can you imagine? Anyway, I suppose you're looking for work. Well, I got bad news. This place is drier than a damn bone. Eager to make some coin, eh? That's the spirit. I'll tell you what. The guild's got a problem out here that I've been trying to deal with for years, but haven't been able to handle. Don't look at me like that. I'm all alone out here, with no one to watch my back. And besides, it's really my problem anyway. I caused it. A fellow Breton who went by the name Esmond Tyne showed up on my doorstep about a fortnight ago. He noticed the shadow marks like you did, and I thought he was one of us. That he did, right out from under my nose. Can you believe it? It's my own formula for improved bone mold. Took me years to perfect. Well, before he ran off, he was talking some nonsense about trying to fence goods to the Reeklings at Castle Karstag. I told him he was crazy to even think about talking to those vicious little buggers, but he wouldn't listen. I'd bet a fat purse of coin that he's either dead or hiding out up there. You do that, and I'll make sure you're set up right. You won't be disappointed. No, wait. Maybe. I don't know how I know that name. I'm not sure. I don't want to talk about this. A fine question, and the one that I hear most often from visitors to our town. I wish I had a more romantic tale to tell, but I was simply seeking my fortune and chose Raven Rock to ply my trade. Besides, knowing how to repair bone mold armor wasn't very useful in Riften. I had a friend over there, a dark elf named Van White, a very talented armorsmith. Spent a lot of time with the guy swapping smithing techniques. Learned a heck of a lot, including how to repair bone mold. After he moved on to greener pastures, I decided to pack up, move out here, and put those lessons to the test. Been here ever since. It's the only tool tough enough to crack Stalrim, is what it is. Not many of those beauties left in the world. Forging them is a lost art. The one Cretius borrowed came from the Skull village up north. I, traded them some goods for it. Calling Stalrim an ore is like calling my forge a campfire. Some folks say it's enchanted ice, but I think there's more to it than that. I don't think I've come across more than a chunk or two in my lifetime, and smithing's my trade. If you're looking to learn more, you should head over to the Skull village. Someone there's bound to know more about it than I do. You tell Cretius he better give that pickaxe back to me, or else.
Looking for any potions? Ingredients? Alchemical supplies? After we left Morrowind, we found ourselves in Skyrim. We wandered around a bit and ended up in Morthal, where we took up temporary residence with Lami, the town's alchemist. I was fascinated by her work, and over a period of a few years, she taught me quite a bit. It wasn't long before we became homesick. We were the only Dunmer in Morthal. When word reached us that a settlement of Dunmer was forming on Solstheim, we were thrilled. It's been difficult, but I'm not regretting it one bit. In fact, I'm glad we've been able to stay and help. Yes, I'm proud to say that I grow or harvest most of it myself. I only wish I had a better source for netch jelly. Those creatures are difficult to track down since it's so dangerous beyond the bulwark. That would be splendid. I'd be more than happy to give you something for the effort. As you can imagine, the eruption of the Red Mountain hunting for game has been scarce, and the waters are apparently too tame. According to Councillor Morvain, my husband's been Raven Rock's most important food source for decades. I think I can teach you a thing or two. So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Careful with those netches. They may look tame, but they can seriously hurt you when threatened.
As the wife to the second councillor of Raven Rock, it would be my pleasure to help you any way that I can. You look able to venture outside of town. Perhaps you could help me recover something precious that was lost. Admiral Arano, second councillor of Raven Rock. How I hate that title. Damn fool's going to get himself killed over it someday. He's in grave danger, and yet he continues to place himself in harm's way. When I fall asleep at night, all I can do is hope he'll still be there when I awaken. This island was never meant for us. There's too much death here. I assure you, if I could convince Adril to do that, I'd be on the next ship back to Blacklight. Unfortunately, Adril and Councillor Morvain are very close friends, and they will never abandon one another, despite my feelings. I'm the wife of a second councillor, and certain things are expected of me. The most important thing is that I stand by Adril no matter how I feel, and I intend to do that until we get off this miserable rock. Adril and I lived in Blacklight, the capital city of Morrowind. House Redoran has improved Blacklight substantially over the last 1,000 years. Its grandeur rivals that of Mournhold itself. The root spire where the Council of Great Houses meet is something to behold. I haven't seen the city in over 50 years. Even for a Dunmer, that seems like an eternity. Regardless, I hope to return there someday, which doesn't seem likely given my husband's commitment to Councillor Morvain. A few months ago, I had sent an important folio to the first edition bookshop in the Imperial City to be rebound. They sent it back to me recently, but it never arrived. Yes, the Strident Squall, or something like that. The damn thing sunk right off the coast of Solstheim. Can you imagine? One of the sailors survived. Poor thing crawled all the way to Raven Rock on his hands and knees. Before he died, he told the Redoran Guard about the wreck and warned us that it was going to be crawling with reavers. Thank you. You have no idea how much it hurts losing such a precious heirloom. My husband is second counselor, so I certainly have the means to reward you if you find my folio.
I work for Mogrel. You got a problem, you talk to him.
Vendel Severin. A pleasure to meet you, Serio.
Miserable.
Always glad to help, Serio.
Oh, I hate this place.
What can I do for you?
Your visit here would be tolerated.
Welcome to the Retching Netch Corner Club, home of the finest Sujammer that will ever grace your lips. Welcome to the Retching Netch, Outlander. What can I get? The finest Sujammer to cross your lips, friend. My own personal formula that I call Sadri's Sujammer. In fact, I've just added some new ingredients to the mixture that I think makes it taste better than ever.
It's nothing.
All I need to do is get the word out that it's ready, and they'll flock here for it.
Never allow anything to happen to us.
I was kind of hoping you'd say that. Here, take these samples of the Sujammer and spread the word. If you get rid of all of them, there's something extra in it for you.
I've sworn to keep Councillor Morvain safe, and I intend to take that oath to the most exiled... What? Oh, no, thank you. I need to keep my head clear. Remember, we're watching you.
Welcome to Raven Rock, Traveler. Could I interest you in any fine ash-grown foods? The Dunmer have been growing food in the ashlands for thousands of years. It was born out of the necessity to survive in the harsh climate of our homeland. And now, with the constant eruptions of the Red Mountain, it's more important than ever. No, only the Telvanni have the ability to weave living growth from the ash. This simply takes the right ingredients, the right tools, and a lot of patience. Always a pleasure to taste anything Geldis comes up with.
Geldis?
Next time you're hungry, stop by. I always have plenty of food for sale.
Want to buy anything? Or just laugh at our misfortunes?
I wouldn't wait till you strolled in. I'd come find you.
Geldis needs to bottle this up and send it to the mainland instead of wasting his time out here. His drinks are outstanding. Thanks. Bad? What if I told you that you're the first person that's even considered looking at my wares today? I've half a mind to contact my friends at the East Empire Company and see if they need an extra hand in Windhelm. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've corresponded with Vittoria Vici herself more than once. You know, the lady who runs the East Empire Company warehouse in Solitude.
It's nothing.
The biggest warehouse they have in Skyrim.
Captain Velith would never allow anything to happen.
You're just like the rest of the folks around here.
Enough for you.
Mark my words. The East Empire Company will return to Raven Rock, and when they do, I'll be at the top of their list. The question you should be asking is, what don't I sell here? Because I have pretty much any supplies you might need. If it's not a weapon, potion, or armor, then it's likely that I have it. Jarland, over at the docks, brings me most of my supplies, and the rest comes from bartering with the people in town. Oh, Glover Mallory gets me a few things once in a while. He usually has the most amazing deals that I can't pass up.
I can sense your concern.
Mining here? No. However, I used to sell East Empire pendants until I ran out of them. Popular little item.
Perhaps that's reassuring enough for you.
It's an amulet that was made exclusively for the East Empire Company. They gave them to their workers as an incentive at one point, a kind of reward for extra effort. They're no longer being made, so they've become a collectible. I'd love to get my hands on a few of them. They could be anywhere on the island. The mines might be a good place to start. If you find any while you're exploring Solstheim, bring them here, and I'll pay you for them. The East Empire pendants are scattered all over, so leave no stone unturned.
As the wife to the Oh, how kind. Thank Gelders for me, won't you? My husband is second counselor, so I certainly...
Your visit here will be tolerated as long as you abide by our laws. Otherwise, you'll answer to the Reverend Guard.
Find my Glover Mallory's the name. If you're looking for a smith. Perfect. I was just thinking about heading over for a drink. Thanks for saving me the trip. You tell Cresius he better give that pickaxe back to me, or else.
Want to buy anything, or just laugh at our misfortunes?
You're doing your job, Adrian.
Well, my wife and I are doing the best we can to keep Raven Rock fed. Next time you're hungry, stop by. I work for Mogul. You got a problem, you talk to him.
Teldrin Serro, blade for hire. If you have the coin.
Welcome to the Retching Next Corner Club, my lord. If you need anything, Master Gelders. We have all sorts of authentic dark elf food and drink here. Sorry, Gelders won't allow me to drink while I'm working at Venetch.
Damn it, woman. I said to leave me be.
Cresius, last time you explored the mine, you almost fell to your death. I'm not spending the rest of my days as a widow.
I was always taught to avoid these types of ruins. I think I see why now.
He's down here. I can feel it.
That was almost 2 centuries ago. There may be nothing left to find.
Just let me go, woman.
Cresius, you're an obstinate old fool, and you're going to get yourself killed. My apologies for Cresius's ravings. Well, that sounds lovely. Thank you. That foolish old man thinks he's 30 years younger than he is. He's going to get himself killed traipsing around the mine. He's convinced himself that there's some sort of conspiracy involving the East Empire Company and the mine's closure. We came across some old letters that belonged to his great-grandfather in our house, and he believes every word written in them. Cresius's great-grandfather worked for the East Empire Company. The letters mention some sort of discovery he was sent to investigate. There's really nothing remarkable in the letters. I don't know what he's so excited about. Gratian Corellius. He was an explorer for the East Empire Company. They'd send him all over Tamriel when they had difficulties in a mining operation. Poor man. Can you imagine doing all that dangerous work just to end up dying at your own doorstep? There was a horrible accident, and he was killed when one of the tunnels collapsed. They were never even able to go down there and recover the body. The East Empire Company sealed that section off to prevent any more tragedies. Cretius is convinced it's a story cooked up by the company to cover up something else, but I don't know. My beloved is almost 80 years old, and I think the shock of finding one of his ancestors' things has left his mind a bit confused. I love him dearly, and I support everything he does. But I can't let him chase this silly idea, or he may end up joining Gratian in a rocky grave. To understand how we met one another, you have to appreciate what he's going through. Cretius is a third-generation miner. All his life, he's lived and breathed nothing else. By the time Cretius came of age, the ebony mine in Raven Rock was shut down. He took that quite hard. Our home has been in his family for over 200 years. Leaving would have been like abandoning precious memories. Instead, he stayed on Solstheim and spent most of his life prospecting for a new ebony source. Sadly, it never surfaced. A decade ago, this drove him into a deep depression. He shut himself inside his home and refused to come out. It was after refusing to allow anyone to bring him food. I was a temple priest at the time, and they had me use my... I stayed for a while and cared for him, then... far from it. In fact, I'm no longer welcome there. In all honesty, it came down to a disagreement between what I believe and what Elder Othraloth believes. I'd prefer not to get into the details, but let's just say our opinions about the current status of the Tribunal vary widely. Be careful out there.
Who in the blazes are you? Can't you see I'm busy? Why should I tell you? I don't even know who you are. Maybe. Been difficult trusting people lately. They think I'm crazy. But mark my words, these mines hold a secret that could put Raven Rock back on the map. A secret the East Empire Company swept under the rug 2 centuries ago. It killed my great-grandfather and left Raven Rock with a worthless and tainted mine. Gratian Corellius. He spent his entire life exploring ancient ruins across Tamriel, and he died in these very mines almost 200 years ago. The East Empire Company called it a terrible accident, claiming that he was lost in a rockfall, but I know better. My wife and I were cleaning out our home, and we came across some of my great-grandfather's things locked in an old chest. I found an unsent letter he'd written to the East Empire Company, and a key. It describes a discovery that was made in the mine by some of the diggers. They wanted Gratian to take a closer look. The East Empire Company must have felt it was of great value, as they locked that section of the mine off from everyone else. It is. Well, I assume it is. I haven't been able to find the entrance. Finally, someone who believes me. I'm telling you, there's something big down there. Something that the East Empire Company wanted to hide from everyone. Look, my wife nags that I'm too old to go traipsing around these mines chasing my story. Time's my enemy. It's caught up with me before I could find the answers that I'm looking for. I do. I want to know what happened to Gratian, and what the East Empire Company's keeping from all of us. Gratian kept a journal of notes about his discoveries. If you can find his remains, I'm hoping it will help. Here's everything I have. The letter, the key. Please, do this for me, so I can finally regain the respect that I've lost. He's begging for patrons again, eh? Well, I suppose I could have just a bit. Look, I know I don't have much to go on. I have that unsent letter, and that's really it. But I also have a miner's instinct that's run in my family from before Gratian was even born. I may sound like a crazy old man to you, but I'm telling you, the tunnels here are solid. They would never collapse like that. The damn fool doesn't even deserve to have it. The pickaxe was made for mining, not selling. I'll bet he stole it from the Skald in the first place. Oh, very well. Here. Tell him I hope he drops the thing on his foot. Be careful down there. Mine can be treacherous.
Why you're leading Cretius on, I'll never understand.
Try the lower sections of the mine. I've never been able to get that far.
Why you're leading Cretius on, I'll never understand. Why you're leading Cretius on, I'll never understand. Why you're leading Cretius on, I'll never understand.
Who's there? I knew I heard something. Who's there? I knew I heard something. That'll teach you. Who's there? Who's there? I knew I heard something. Teamwork right there. Who's there? That'll teach you. Where'd you come from? gorgeous. I'm glad you're here with me.
Ah!
I know you, champion. The Agma Infinite was only the beginning. This is Apocrypha, where all knowledge is hoarded. Saved to others for nothing in the endless stacks of my library. If you tire of whispers, read your book again to return to your mortal life. Discover the Apocrypha. Call you back. It is your fate.
real surprised when I take that knife from my boot. Off me bounty this time. The Raven Rock, free man.
Who's there? I knew I heard something. Done and done.
That's it? That's all you've got? Die, Outlander!
Who's there? Done and done. It'll be good. Where'd you come from?
What was that?
citizen.
I trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend? Let me see that. Huh, I knew it. Gratian's death wasn't because of a rockfall. It was just a story to keep people away from the tombs. Now that I have his journal in hand, I can get some closure from the East Empire Company. Make them pay for lying to everyone. Thank you. Now, I believe I owe you a little more than a debt of gratitude for all that work you did. Here, it's not much, but it's the best an old retired miner can do. Those cowards left decades ago. Every single damned one of them. The moment the ebony mine dried up, they pulled up stakes. Ridiculous. Solstheim is still rich in ebony ore. I know there's more down there. I can smell it. I come from 3 generations of miners, and I'm telling you that the East Empire Company was wrong. They just didn't want to spend the coin trying to find it. Our home has stood in Raven Rock since the colony was founded. Grayson helped build it with his own 2 hands. After Grayson died, he left behind a wife and a son. My grandfather, Relicus. Relicus lived there for quite a long time, working in the other sections of the mine until he was slain by reavers. I never knew my father. My mother and I always lived alone. I asked her about him many times, but she seemed angry and refused to speak about him. So eventually, I let it go. When I was old enough, I began working in the mine, hoping to make my fortune and eventually move to the Imperial City. Unfortunately, yes. I only had enough coins saved to send one of us back to the Imperial City. So I sent my mother alone. I wanted her to see her homeland before she died. Until I met my darling Aphia, yes. I suppose you could have called me a bitter old hermit. Now I'm just old. Mark my words, Raven Rock isn't finished yet.
Find my pick. Glover Mallory's the name. So, you finally tracked down old Cretius, eh? Quite a character, isn't he? Tell you what, since you went through all the trouble of finding it for me and all, you keep it. I just wanted to remind that codger you can't just go around taking things from other people. Now that you've delivered the message, I'm satisfied. Besides, that pickaxe hasn't done me any good in years. Maybe you can put it to good use. Bring your weapons and armor to me. I'll fix it up right.
If you witness suspicious activity, report it to Captain Velith immediately.
What are you gawking at, Outlander?
Stand aside, Outlander.
Squatting isn't tolerated in the abandoned buildings. If you need a place to stay, head to the corner club.
off. Thanks. I wasn't sure I'd make it off this farm alive. I wish I could have said the same for my man here. Some of the Redoran Guard have taken to calling them ash spawn. Me, I don't care what they're called. All I know is they're a danger to Raven Rock and they need to be stopped. I was going to search for clues that might lead me to wherever they're coming from. I know it isn't the best place to start, but we know they've been coming from this direction. Good. I can use all the help I can get. Besides, I don't feel comfortable leaving Raven Rock behind, and I'd hate to lose any more Redoran Guard. We were searching the farm when the ash spawn ambushed us. Have a look around and see if you can turn up anything useful. No one knows, really. Superstitious folks say they're the risen forms of those that died long ago, but I'm not so certain. They started attacking the bulwark a few weeks ago. My men were able to kill them, but they keep coming back. We've had 2 other assaults on the bulwark, at different spots on the wall. I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost like they're becoming more organized and probing it for weaknesses. Exactly. Something has to be directing them against us, and we need to find out who or what it is. I don't. All I know is that the ash spawn are coming from this direction, so this is as good a place to start as anywhere else. Good thing the farm's been abandoned for a long time. I'd hate to see what they would do to an unarmed farmer and his family. Not sure. I was told it was an old Imperial farm that was wiped out by the eruption of the Red Mountain. Not certain who lived there. It was already a pile of rubble when I arrived in Raven Rock. I've had to muster some more men to protect the mine, but I don't really have a problem with that. Second Councillor Arano is concerned that once word reaches the Reavers that the mine has reopened, they might think about paying us a visit. I say let them try. My men are ready for them. Report back to me if you discover anything unusual.
Let's get indoors. Or in a cave. Anywhere, just out of this.
Have you found something? This is strange. The note says it's from General Falks Carius, but that's impossible. Well, Carius was the Imperial garrison commander at Fort Frostmoth, but he died over 200 years ago when the Red Mountain leveled the place. There's no way he could still be alive. If General Carius is still alive, there must be something keeping him that way. I need you to head out to Fort Frostmoth and check it out. I'm gonna head back to Raven Rock and prepare the men for further assaults. Be careful. This General Carius sounds out of his mind.
This must be that beautiful Skyrim weather I've always heard about.
What am I going to do? Sorry, never touched the stuff.
It'll be good to get out of the sun for a while.
With me? What's the matter with you? Sorry, I've just had a lot of hawk-faced cowards coming by to mock my efforts. It probably... The name's Rollis. Rollis Sedaris, out of Moorhold. I've got a financier waiting for me back on the mainland. Sent me here in the interests of obtaining some rare antiquities. The relics of Arzador. But this whole thing became a disaster right quick, let me tell you. You come out of the northern Ashlands, you don't expect things to go easy, you know. When I first got to Kolbjorn, you couldn't even see it. Buried in the ash. Dug out a pile of the stuff taller than me just to find the barrel. Excavating isn't exactly my specialty. Even if it was, the ash... You think I've got that kind of money? No. Takes money to make money, all that rot. There's a lot of it at the other end. But You ever hear of Arzador? He was the first great Nord enchanter, maybe even the first human to master elven methods. His best work was buried with him, though. Now, they're old, and they're powerful. What, are you serious? We can sort out the details of our little arrangement later. Do you have the gold? It's all here. Well then, looks like I have a good bit of work to start on. I'll head back to Raven Rock and round up some diggers. Once we've got something worth looking at, I'll send word to you. Pleasure doing business with you, partner. I'll see you soon. This can be a slow business. Digging takes time. Come around later and I'll have something more interesting to show.
Where'd you come from? Done and done.
An invader has entered the fort. Prepare yourselves for an ambush! Fort Frostmoth will never fall. Long live the Empire!
Where'd you come from? Right there. Who's there? I knew I heard something. Done? Who's there? Ran off, I suppose. Where'd you come from? Teamwork right there. Oh, what is it? If you think it'll help. is it? I'll be here. Do you need something? Let's go. guess. Alright, let's see what you have. Stay on your guard. What is it? Anything good?
Stand aside, Outlander.
What news do you bring from Fort Frostmoth? I had my suspicions that he was undead. How else could he have survived for over 200 years? It's a shame. There are quite a few tales of General Carius's exploits, including the founding of Raven Rock. Councillor Morvain told me to give this to you if you made it back in one piece, and you got rid of General Carius. Better than a soldier's pay, so you should be thankful. I'm sorry to bother you, but Second Councillor Rano asked me to come. All he wanted me to do is track. Look, this is important. Please, go speak to the Second Councillor as soon as possible.
If you witness suspicious activity, report it to Captain Gallen's Legion.
Thank you for coming. After everything you've already done for Raven Rock, I hate to ask for more, but I can't risk Councillor Morvain being killed. The Ulan family of House Lalu, a rival great house, has placed a death mark on the Councillor's head. It's a private matter. Let's just say they seek revenge for the execution of one of their own, ordered by Councillor Morvain himself. The problem is I don't have any solid proof that anyone from House Lalu is hidden among us. Only my suspicions. It may be justified, but it certainly isn't appreciated. Councillor Morvain simply feels that I'm being paranoid. I'm afraid that one day I'll awaken and discover him dead. And I don't want it to come to that. I do. I've received some information from my sources that there could be elements of Ulan's house, House Lalu, already in Raven Rock. Raven Rock is a small settlement, so it's hard to accomplish anything in secret. If any of them is from House Lalu, I wouldn't be able to make a move without them knowing. I had a feeling you'd be willing to listen to me. I need you to start out by being my eyes and ears. Search Raven Rock and see if you can root out these traitors. The best place to start would be Geldis Sadri, over at the Retching Nech Corner Club. If he provides you any leads, check them out before bringing them to my attention. I can't afford to make any mistakes. You might think it's all perfume and roses now that the mine's open. But all I see is a new security problem on our hands. Making sure those shipments of ebony make it safely from the mine to the shipping docks is my new order of the day. And with Solstheim crawling with reavers and Azora knows what else, I can't risk any attacks on Raven Rock. Traitors. The lot of them. Their collaboration with the Empire may have given them unrivaled political and economic strength, but their hearts weren't with the Dunmer people. Lalu deserved every bit of hatred they received once the Empire released its grasp on Morrowind. Having past ties to the Empire immediately turned them into the scapegoat for the Dunmer people's suffering. They had welcomed the Empire with open arms and benefited from it. When everything was said and done, They were no longer recognized as a great house and were dismissed from the council. I maintain a few contacts in other Dunmer settlements across Tamriel. Most hail from House Redoran, but there are a few from other houses. Most of my contacts live leagues away from Solstheim. Sending the occasional message back and forth is all we can manage, and sometimes takes months or more to arrive. However, any information we can glean in times like this, I consider vital to House Redoran's survival. During the Oblivion Crisis, gates to the Plane of Oblivion opened all over Morrowind. The Empire pulled most of its forces out of Morrowind to deal with the gate. We had no standing army at the time, just uncoordinated. House Redoran took charge and was slowly able to build an army. When the Argonians invaded years later, House Redoran's army was able to... It would be fair to say that House Redoran literally saved the Dunmer people from destruction. If there's anything at all I can do to help, please let me know.
Damn! I work for Mogrel. You got a problem, you talk to him.
Welcome to the Retching Netch Corner. The mine's open, people... Well, well, Adril's got himself a spy, does he? Azura knows he needs all the help he can get. He's been chasing the Ulins for years now. No, I just think he's going about this the wrong way. Actually, I do. If you want to catch those slippery slaughterfish, you need to let them come to you. There's an Ulin ancestral tomb near the temple. Someone's been leaving ash yam offerings on the altar inside. If you were to wait inside for whomever that is, I'm betting they'll have some of the answers you're looking for. What makes you think I haven't? Anytime Adril and the Redoran Guard made a move, the Ulins must have been one step ahead and didn't show up. You can thank me if it works. Until then, I'd head to the tomb and wait until your visitor shows up. Back in '95, Vila Ulin came to Raven Rock with a plan to take over our town. But Fetcher thought he could stir up the locals and use them against the Redoran Guard, and then murder Consular Morvain when we weren't looking. He arrived alone, but spread enough coin around to start changing people's minds. Half the bloody town joined his side. Can you believe that? He underestimated the Redoran Guard. They were organized and brought a swift end to the coup. Vila tried to run, but he was caught by Captain Veleth himself. Vila Ulin was executed a short time later, and his remains placed in the Ulin ancestral tomb. When a Dunmer is laid to rest, the body is burned and returned to the ashen soil. Since the ash yam is born of the very same soil, it represents rebirth and renewal. Haven't heard anything lately, but check back with me. You never know.
Excuse me. I didn't realize there was anyone else here. I presume the same thing you're doing, leaving an offering for the departed. Forgive my surprise. It's just that I wouldn't expect that sort of behavior from someone who isn't Dunmer. Since there aren't any Ulans left on this island, I've taken it upon myself to leave the traditional offering in their stead. What do you mean? I thought I was clear. I'm simply honoring a fellow departed Dunmer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to meditate a bit.
You lost?
You've brought Ravenrock back from the brink, traveler. I don't know how to thank you.
I hope Geldis proved useful. Have you made any progress? Telesu, are you sure? So Geldis's plan worked, eh? Every time we tried it, no one would ever show up. If Telesu's involved in any sort of plot to harm Councillor Morvain, I'm going to need hard evidence to prove
I was concerned about our food stores. Jalan can only carry so much.
I'm not kicking down anyone's door until I have solid evidence in hand.
I'll speak with Garen.
If you're wrong about Telesu, things would quickly go downhill around here, and the real culprits might slip away. I can't afford for that to happen.
Ashians a bit more often this year.
If you have evidence and it places your life in peril, I would expect you to do whatever you must to keep yourself alive. Here, this key should open the front door of the manor in case they've locked it. Good luck. Telesu is wife to the family patriarch Vendel. They have a single child, a daughter named Miri. They arrived here 10 years ago and have been nothing but a benefit to Ravenrock ever since. They're quite wealthy, and they've been quite generous by sharing their fortune with the community. They've contributed coin, food, supplies, even helped repair a few of the buildings in town with their own hands. People have mentioned it's a bit odd about how close in age Mary appears to be to her father, but that's hardly a cause for alarm. Just make sure you find solid evidence. If I accuse them without it, I'll be the laughingstock of the colony. Be careful. If the Severans have betrayed
May I have
us,
a word with you, Counselor?
then they'll be well armed.
Of course, Sindiri. What troubles you?
I was concerned about our food stores. Jalan
Did
can
you
only
find
carry
any
so much
evidence
on each
at
journey,
Severin
and I'm
Manor
afraid we
yet?
might run out.
I'll speak with Garen and see if we can't increase the crop production this season. Sorry, Sindiri. I fear we'll be feasting on Ashians a bit.
Do you need something? If you say so. What now? Thought you'd never ask.
Careful, Miri. Someone's in here with us. Spill your blood!
Where'd you come from?
It's not my time.
I trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend?
Did you find any evidence at Severin Manor yet? Then we finally have them. All that remains now is chasing them down and bringing them to justice. Good. I'm going to send 2 of the best Reverend Guard we have to take them down. I want you to assist them any way you can. See that you do. We can't afford to let these traitors slip away. Ashfallow Citadel's been abandoned for a long time.
Councillor Morvain is the only reason Ravenrock has survived all these years. You should pay your respects.
Who's there? Where'd you come from? Ah! Ah! Dude! Done and done.
here? Aren't you supposed to be in the tower assisting?
Won't this summoning work? If you must know, I'm trying to get this Ash Guardian spell to work. Now let me concentrate. Besides, shouldn't you be worrying about the damage to the tower?
Master Neloth has tasked Alenia with repairing the tower. Why are you doing this in the lab, where it would be safer for all of us?
The lab is too small. Also, I need the ashy soil. Master Neloth knows what I'm doing. No need to bother him about it, though. He's quite busy at the moment.
It's on your head if something goes wrong. Just let me get back inside first.
Maybe the book has something.
We don't get many visitors. Is there something you need? Tel Mithrin. It's the home of Master Neloth. You may have heard of him. He's a famous Telvanni wizard. In Morrowind, the Telvanni grow buildings from special fungus spores. Master Neloth grew one here to be his home. Don't ask me how. No, Talvis is his apprentice. I'm his steward. I manage the day-to-day affairs of Tel Mithrin.
I don't think you belong here. Does Master Neloth know about... Yes, I'm trying to summon an Ash Guardian. I'm just having trouble deciphering Master Neloth's handwriting. I don't mean to be rude, but I need to concentrate.
If you're looking for passage, talk to Captain
ready to go.
What do you want, little elf?
Yes? If you think it'll help. It's so bright out here. I don't know how you stand it.
That world will cease to be. Here in his shrine.
That they have forgotten.
Where'd you come from?
Is someone there? Nothing here after all.
Who's there? I knew I heard something.